journey?
So my definition of leadership is it's a few things that tag to it. So first thing that comes to mind is, as a leader, is to grow and develop your people. Next thing that comes to mind for me and my experiences is to also stay open-minded and to also remove barriers for your people in order to let them do their job. So as a leader, I need to remove the barriers, the obstacles, the roadblocks, whatever you want to call it, to allow my team or my people to flourish. In doing that process, will I have to maybe step in sometimes and give my input? Sure, because we got a goal to achieve. At the same time, though, I need to allow them also to feel like, you got to say in what we're doing. I want to know your perspective because, to me, a leader's only as good as the people around them. I know it sounds cliche, but I really believe that. I think the next thing you had mentioned was, how was my mindset formed around what's leadership for me and how I lead? Oh man, so it's kind of like a combination of things, right? So it's experiences from my past, even always going back to my childhood, playing sports, right? To me, sports is a microcosm of life. So, I've had great coaches when I was a kid. I had coaches that were, not so great, but I also remember the things that I learned from them. We always tend to remember the biggest impact from those that probably had the least positive impact on us. So for me, I mean, again, it's experiences from different adults in my life. It's experiences from, even just listen to my kids talking as they got older, man. They tell me things that, hey, Dad, I don't know if you realize this, but, you said this, you did that, that hurt my feelings. Or this was awesome. My friends think you're the greatest, dad of all time. So you take those things, and I think the biggest part of that is you got to make sure you listen. It's one thing to hear them, but are you listening? If you're listening, you're going to find something in what someone said or the action that they did, and you're going to take that and you're going to add it to your building blocks to help you be a better leader and just a better person overall. So, again, man, I mean, I've been rocking with same company for over 20 years, and I've met a lot of people along my path. And, it doesn't matter what they did for a living, what their role was. And I don't care if it was, cleaning service or was the mill. I mean, it was the president, right, of the company. You can learn something from somebody. And also as a leader, too, that's part of my development to where I am now is be respectful, right? So, I mentioned, about the cleaning service. Okay, I need to make sure I speak to them, say hello, ask them good, how are they doing? Say good morning to them, right? Because they're out trying to do the same thing I'm trying to do, provide. And so just so happened my role looks a little different than theirs, but it does not differentiate me from who they are and what they do. I think the other thing that you asked too is that how has it changed over the years? So, going back to how was it formed, it's different life experiences in and outside of work. The same thing goes for how has it changed over the years. I've worked in 3 different states now, been around the world literally twice for different positions, different opportunities. And through all of that, again, it's me keeping an open mind, me realizing I don't have all the answers. And because I don't have all the answers, and because I'm not some genius walking around who knows it all, I keep learning. And to me, not there's been a leader, but there's also life, right? It's like you're going to constantly be learning and picking up on things that's going to make you better. And if you don't get better, then I think you got to look at yourself in the mirror. And I remember a guy told me a long time ago I worked with. We were sitting around having a talk and having a discussion over drinks, and he said, Keith, you should not be the same person you were year to year. He said that can go both ways. It could be it could be negative, it could be positive. He said, I would hope for the positive. He said, but you should be constantly in a growth and development stage. And so that's how my leadership has changed over the years, because I'm constantly trying to learn. I'm constantly trying to get better. And I'm constantly going to also use that to stretch my people that I lead and put them in a position to be, better than what they were the day before and to grow and develop them. I've got this cliche. I watch a show called The Pivot. It's a podcast, and one of the greatest running backs of all time is Fred Taylor. Right, gets overlooked a lot when it comes to the Hall of Fame, which is another subject for another day. But he has a cliche that he uses, and it is uh, exposure. Exposure leads to expansion. Right. So, and man, I just run with it. I really do. I mean, I really feel like the more you're exposed to, then the more you're going to expand your mindset. The more you expand your mindset, the more you feel like, you know what, I can do this. I can figure this out and take a leap. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't take that leap, then you're never going to know what you really can do. You're never going to really stretch yourself. So, I'm a strong believer in maximize your opportunities, right? So if you get an opportunity, because that's what I got. Someone thought that I was better than what I was, saw something in me, and saw it before I even saw it, and said, look, just try. What's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. Keep it pushing. So I tell anybody that's going to listen, maximize your opportunities, and by doing that, and by taking those opportunities, you're going to expose yourself, and when you expose yourself, you're going to get an opportunity to expand your mind. And when you expand your mind, you're going to expand who you are as a person and as a leader.
Oh, I love it, Keith. Goodness gracious. And that's a good segue into our second question. But one thing I'm going to take out of your response
Okay.
was exposure leads to expansion. My brother,
Yes.
goodness
Yeah.
gracious, that's powerful.
It's funny, man, because one of my, I call this cat my little brother. And so we talk a lot. And so I got a going away gift from him and some other guys a few years ago. And so they gave me this, I smoke cigars. So they gave me this humidor box with the inscription, Coach Jackson on it. And so they always call me, he always looked at me as, big brother, but also a coach. Because I'm kind of old school, man. I mean, I'm not the biggest techie guy, but I know you need techie. I know you need technical stuff to drive innovation, to think outside the box and to get to where you want to be. But at the same time, I'm kind of that cat that I got a million things in my brain I want to see done to make things better, but I don't always quite know how to put pen to pad and execute it. But as a leader, it's not quite always my job either. It's to give you the opportunity to make that happen, because you may be like, hey, I know exactly what we need to do and how to do it. Okay, run with it. And then we'll step around, we punch holes in it, and we see, if it's going to work. And I'm not the type that's going to be very, against things when someone wants to try something. I'm like, you know what, man, let's throw this thing up against the wall, see if it sticks. If it sticks, great. If it doesn't, you know what, we tried. We don't stop. We just figure out what we did wrong, and we come back to it and we try it again. So, again, I pride myself on being, uh, a coaching style, teaching style, if you will. Try to be patient, very patient, because again, I didn't come up to where I am the conventional way with the college degree and walking into the door, you know, with a piece of paper on the wall, right? So I'm that cat that worked his way up. I walked into the job I have, to the company I work for, I should say, as an operator. High school diploma, went to college for a little bit, didn't finish. Wife reminds me that every now and then. And but then she jokes and says, you're a unicorn, right? Because, again, man, I've been in multiple roles. I've had people see things in me and say, you should definitely do this. You should definitely do that. You know, again, been to Europe twice for work. Been to multiple locations, sites in the United States, and that's not typical. For someone who looks like us, it's just not. And I'm not trying to go down the race road. I'm just calling it like I see it. It just doesn't happen all the time. You know what I mean? So I've been in a room with people that don't look like me, people that speak a foreign language, and yet sometimes the decisions can be made. So I gave my input. So so when I walk, so I would say to anybody, male, female, that looks like us or they don't. When you walk in a room, Walk in that room knowing that you own that room, you own that space. You may not have all the answers, and that's okay. That's life. Right? None of us have all the answers, but don't reduce who you are to make somebody else feel better about the space that you're in. So that's my leadership style.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm about ready to join the team. You got any vacancies?
Leadership behavior is being present. And what I mean by being present is, man, you really got to know your people, right? I mean, you gotta figure things out. You gotta figure out, what makes them tick. And you need to do it with a real heart. Don't do it because, you're told in the books when you get hired, hey, go out there and say hi to your people. No, you really need to get to know your people, right? You need to get to know, what they like, what they don't like. And I don't mean just their work, but in their life. Establish a rapport with them, but do it, from the heart, right? So when the hurricane situation hit for us, you know, I had all kinds of stuff going on in my life. We all do. But the thing about it, as a leader, I don't need my team to worry about what I got going on. I appreciate if they do, cool. But if they don't, I'm not looking for that. What I need to do though is make sure they're good. And what can I do to make sure they have what they need? Whether it's them saying, hey, I need to be off because I woke up and I don't have a roof anymore. Or hey, this happened to someone in my life, a sibling or whatever. So to me, you really need to be present with your people. So not only do they trust you by you being present, but they know you truly care. So when things hit the fan, because you do it long enough, something's going to happen where you're going to have to be in an uncomfortable situation that has nothing to do with work. It can affect work, but it doesn't have anything to do with work. It's called life, and it's going to hit you no matter what.
Oh,
Starting out would be my mom. My mom worked in the kitchen, man. I mean, for years. She's retired. She's in assisted living now. But my mom, I felt like just gave the best hugs than anybody I've ever hugged in my life. And she always had something to offer somebody. Like go to church, coming over to the house, get your son meat. I mean, she was always just open and welcoming. And so that's really embedded in me. So I really try to lead, as I mentioned before, with the real heart of caring about people, and caring about my people that work for me, with me, around me, because man, I just saw how my mom was, man. So when you do that, people really do, and people really can read into you, and people know when you faking it, and they know when you are genuine. But uh, you know that's really my starting point for me. Did I know I was going to be where I am now as a kid growing up? Nope. But you know, I've had numerous times where I've been given that comment like hey, he's just a good dude, he's just a good brother, or what, or I've had guys or people work for me and they do their reviews about me, and and some of the biggest things going to be mentioned is that he truly cares about his people. So that didn't just happen overnight. That was instilled in me from my mom. So I would say for me, the biggest impact would be my mom, leaders current day, mentors. I've got some I refer to. Wow, I would say I would say one would be Eric Draheim was a good mentor for me. Gentleman by the name Bernard Mason. So Bernard is what I call my big brother. So Bernard is the asset leader at Kimberly Clark in Jinx, Oklahoma. But he's the cat that told me the first day I started on the job. And I've told the story to every new hire that walked in the door that I had anything to do with. And he told me on the very first day, and that was almost 24 years ago. He said, you need to walk around this place like there's a camera in the back of your head at all times. And what that means is, it's not about, hey, you being micromanaged and big brother's watching you. He's saying do what's right because it's the right thing to do no matter what. And so I've always went by that. So, um, so I would say that's the biggest impact from someone outside my mom that I use to this day. Eric Drahan mentioned some things that kind of impacted me as day to day work, like in terms of like, you know, um, having the mindset to really have a plan, day to day. It's okay if the plan isn't ready when you first start, but work your way toward a plan so you can truly lead your people and they don't feel lost. So that's something I really learned from him. But again, it all starts with mom at the crib.
Man, I love it. And we share that just for the
Yeah,
and you went to third brother to tell me that one of the role models or mentors was their mother. So that's refreshing to hear that there's some consistency here. We got some beautiful freaking blessings of black women
yeah,
out
yeah,
here.
man. One of my biggest joys as a leader, man, was it's really it's really when I have a conversation with my team and we get to that point where we're really comfortable and I feel like things are starting to click and we're starting to roll a little bit. The first thing I tell them at that point when I can feel it, I'm like, hey, no offense, but I really don't want the same team this time next year. And a lot of times they're like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, man, it's time for you to move on and do something else because you figured it out, Or it's like, hey, Keith, I really think about putting in for this and putting in for that. And it's like, let's do it. What we got to do to get you there? What do I got to do? You know, what do you need from me to get you where you need to be? Because again, we're not having a conversation if somebody didn't do it with me. So when I lose somebody, and you know how it is, you lose somebody on your squad, it's a setback. But man, just to see that person move on, and then you get a text or email or whatever the case may be, that's huge because you did right by them. And to do right by them, you can't put a dollar sign on.
You don't know how much I love that, brother, for it to be your biggest joy. Did you over
Oh man, great question, dog. So biggest challenge, man, is walking in any job, and what's funny, they can know you, they don't know you. It's just the point that it's all brand new. It's fresh, it's new. They're used to one thing, they're used to one style, they're used to one person, and all of a sudden, it's like I joke about, a preacher or a pastor, the new CEO, the new president, the new coach, right? They all got their own agenda. So everybody wants to come in, trash everything else that was there. Say, here's where we're going. But so that's part of it though. I mean, it is. This is part of it. And so again, to me, it goes back to talking genuine and being genuine. You have that conversation with them. You let them know who you are. You let them know, your style. You don't go in there, like a ball of fire and say, hey, we're going to do this today. By 30 days from now, we're going to be here. By 90 days from now, we're going to be here. No, you take those first 60, 90 days, as mentors have taught me over the years, and you just sit back, you just observe, you lay low, you ask questions. You ask questions for understanding. You don't ask questions to embarrass anybody or call anybody out because you're some genius who has all the answers. So now you're about to take the floor and speak. You're asking questions for understanding, right? Because you want to get a true understanding of why they do things the way they do it, what's their thinking behind it. And so then as those 90 days or so go by, now you start trying to slowly implement your vision. Now you can have a better understanding of how to approach everything. And maybe, and if you're really listening and you really are wanting to develop and grow your people, you may realize, I can't do everything maybe I thought I wanted to do because it's not right. The timing isn't right, situation's not right, or you just missed the boat. You just flat out wrong. But you got to acknowledge that. It's okay. You're wrong. Move on, figure something else out. So that's the biggest challenge I think is just with anybody. Just being new, getting acclimated to a new environment, new people, and getting them to see your vision and them realizing that you don't mean any harm. You just want to see things get to a better position than where you found it. So I need you to get on board with me and help me execute this. Man, be open to learning. And if if you're that cat, the young lady that went to college and got a degree, don't stop there. I'm not saying go back to school and add more to your plate. I'm just saying be open to learning in the workplace, at home. Listen to people, ask questions. Like me, I'm big on like listening to audiobooks. So audiobooks really drive me to help me think, about my next move. Honestly, if I feel like something's not progressed the way I want it, if I'm stuck, you know, kind of with this particular person, I like to listen to, how would they do it? How would this person do it? And so, and then also, don't be too proud to call and talk to somebody and say, hey, I'm kind of stuck here. How would you handle the situation? What have you done in the past? And it can be somebody who's in the same career that you're in, or it could be just, somebody who's just, it could be that one cat that you're cool with, but man, he's just a walking book full of knowledge. And he'd be like, you're just overthinking this thing. Here's Jackson. That's all you really need to do. So just be open-minded to learning from different people. Which is funny because this is how the whole conversation started in the very beginning with number one. So again, be open-minded to understanding and listen to other people. Don't let your pride get in the way. And then I would say too, I kind of ended where I started. Exposure leads to expansion, right? So again, at 25 years old or 55, you're not going to have all the answers. So put yourself in a position where you can keep absorbing and learning from other people in other situations. And then when you're put in that position to make a difference, go for it, which again goes back to maximize your opportunities. So that's what I got, brother.